to the 2019 EISD Convocation.
We are excited for the new school year and hope you are too.
To all teachers and staff of Edgewood ISD, your dedication and passion to your work has influenced us every day.
We would also like to take this time to present to you our 2019-2020 Academy Theater season.
Please join us October 9th through 11th for our fall show, Clue on Stage, here in the Edgewood Theater.
Also, February 11th through 13th, we'll perform our musical, The Addams Family.
Then on April 15th to 17th, we'll perform our Spring Spotlight Drama and our Black Arts Theater.
And finally, our Theater Student Showcase on May 20th. Please follow our program on Instagram and Twitter at Academy Acting CO if you would like more information.
Again, thanks for all you do. We hope you have a fantastic school year.
I'm a mother of 4 children. When we first came over to transition over to Edgewood, I was kind of worried. The concern that I had for my girls when they first started Las Palmas was not making friends or being bullied, being that they've experienced things. I didn't know what to expect. We were gonna have the support from the staff, from the teachers, and my girls were gonna, be welcomed when we walked in. I just felt the love. Details matter because, when you go through so many things in life and you don't have that support, especially from your family, but you get it from the community, you're getting it from the teachers and everyone, you can't go wrong.
Not go wrong. So that's just one of several videos you're going to be seeing. Once again, let's give our theater students a big round of applause. Did they not do a fantastic job? I also want to take the opportunity to recognize our drumline from our Kennedy High School, Memorial High School drumlines who were here receiving everybody as we arrived this morning. Also to serving them. So thank you to them as well. And so now what we're going to talk about is, we talked about our theater, we talked about our drum lines, we talked about our cheer, and this is just a small example of all of the things that we offer in public schools and how we support each and every student that walks in through our doors. And we do the best that we can to serve those students every single day. And so because we are a public school, one of the things that we're very proud of is to be a part of the Go Public campaign. And again, we know that public schools right now, our focus is to serve every student that walks in. We have special students, we have students with great talents, we have students with maybe certain needs. No matter what they come in, we're here to serve them. So as part of a public school entity, I want to share this small video from our friends at Go Public as well. That those billboards, those TV ads, those news stories, Edgewood ISD is included in every one of those. So again, thank you to our friends at Go Public. All right, so now it's time to have a little bit of fun. Who's ready to have some fun this morning? So I'm going to do something that they're not expecting. These individuals are not expecting this. What I want to do briefly is I want to ask if we can please have all of our campus principals come to the stage. come up here, and they didn't know I was going to do this, so I asked them to come up here because, as we saw earlier, there's a lot of new staff in Edgewood ISD. So we wanted to make sure that not only our new staff, but everybody in our district knows who our principals are, because we are all here to serve you and support you and your campuses and your students. So what we're going to do now, this is your chance to go for it. What we're going to do now is we're going to have each of them basically do a shout out. Introduce who they are, shout out to their campus, and we're going to go all the way down the line. And then we're going to play some games and have some fun with them later, so you have no idea what's in store. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with Ms. Tolbane. The mic is yours.
My name is Tracy Talbane. I'm the proud principal of Stafford ECC Learning Center. Good morning, I'm Claudia Barrios, and I'm the proud principal of Cárdenas Early Childhood Center. Go Cárdenas, go! My name is Courtney Gavin, and I am the Innovation Administrator at Perales.
And my name is Terry Silva, and I am the very proud principal of Perales Elementary. Go Road Raiders!
My name is Kristen Wellman, and I am the principal of the campus who leads from the heart and loves who we teach. Gardendale Elementary, also home of the Early Learning Program. Go Gardendale!
I am Roger Gonzalez, and I'm the proud principal of Loma Park Elementary School, where leaders are made at our campus. Let's go Park!
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dr. Ortiz, and I am very proud, privileged, and honored to be the proud principal of Roosevelt Elementary. Woo! Go Roosevelt! At Roosevelt, we are family, and we are rising together to new heights. Sorry, I've got a fan base. I'm a proud principal. My name is Tanya Moran, and I am the very proud principal of Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary School. Go Eagles! And don't forget, this year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. Good morning, Edgewood. If I can have everyone look at that amazing staff up there. Huge shout out. I am the blessed principal, Monica Munoz of Las Palmas Elementary. And this year, we are on a mission to learn and lead. Go Bobcats! I am the proud principal of L.B. Johnson Elementary, where we are building a tradition of success. Go Bobcats! Good morning, Edgewood. I am Claudia Sanchez, and I am the very proud principal of Winston Elementary, where Winston! Good morning, my name is Dr. Herrera, and everyone in Edgewood has heard of the Mustangs at Roy Cisneros. Woo! Good morning, I am Lucy Salazar, and I'm the very proud principal of Stockford Elementary, where we're building a culture of excellence. Let's go Stockford!
Good morning, my name is Christopher Bland, and I'm the proud principal of those amazing people said, hold up, wait a minute, let me show you how to do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Daniel Pena. Not only am I the proud principal of the Edgewood Fine Arts Academy, STEAM, but I am also a graduate of this wonderful, wonderful school district. We have an opportunity that we combine families this year. We're combined alternative school. We also combined with the wonderful staff over there. Together, we have made a decision to embrace the opportunity to change lives. So one day at a time, we're going to say how to get it done. So this half of the auditorium right here, I want you to say Edgewood. So from right here on this side, let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Edgewood. Da, 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 da. On this side, I want to say Maine. 1, 2, 3. Because you see shirts that say Hecho en Mexico. I want to see a shirt that says Hecho en Edgewood. Because we are Edgewood. So let's try it all together. Auditorium, that means the top, the bottom, everyone in between, and even the front row. 1, 2, 3. I love you guys. I love everyone else. Let's have a great year.
Good morning, Las Palmas Elementary. I'm Joel Garcia. I'm the new innovation administrator for Las Palmas, the #1 staff in the district. Have a great day.
Good morning, Edgewood. Oh, you guys are better than that. I say, good morning, Edgewood. My name is Joe Nohosa. I'm the crowd director of special education in our district. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all you do for our students. And we also represent the Burleson Center for Innovation and Education in Edgewood ISD. Which is a center that represents our entire district and everything that we do for our kids daily. So I thank all the principals that are standing up here that support us each and every day. More importantly, I thank all of you staff that bring it every day. Let's get ready to rock and roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so these are proud principals of our campuses that we serve each and every day. I say let's give them another big round of applause. Our principals. No, don't leave. Don't leave. No, you can't leave. Just a big round of applause to our principals. So because we're getting the year started, we're feeling a little splendid this morning, we want all of our principals, since you're here, we're going to play a little game known as our Edgewood Winning Wheel. So right now we're going to spin the wheel, and the winning campus is going to take away a little gift. All right, so let's spin the wheel. Gardendale Elementary School. All right, so our friends at Gardendale Elementary School, you get a cake from our friends at Nothing But Cakes. Please feel free to enjoy, but don't feel bad. We have another chance to spin the Edgewood Winning Wheel. All right, so let's go ahead and spin that wheel one more time. All right, Roosevelt, you two get to take the cake home. Right here. Again, thank you to our friends at Nothing But Cakes. All right, let the ustedes la vencida. Here goes our third spin for our third cake to take home. Here we go. We're spinning the Edgewood Winning Wheel. All right. Congratulations. We're going to come back to that winning wheel. But congratulations, principals. Don't leave yet because we have another very special set of if I can please welcome Ms. Leti Barbosa from Roosevelt Elementary School, who is also the ECTA president. We have Mr. Noel Candelario from TSTA, who is the state president. And then we also have Ms. Olvidia Molina, who is the VP, joining us this morning as they have some special messages and also some raffle items for everybody here. So, welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Leti Barbosa. I am a 5th grade teacher at Roosevelt Elementary. I'm really excited about this school year, and I am here to represent you as the ECTA president and wish you the best year for 2019 school year. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Olvidia Molina, and I am a proud middle school teacher. Let me see where the middle school's at. So I'm just here to wish you a really, really incredible new year and to say thank you for being superheroes. There's not many people that would have watched that video earlier without tears in their eyes, and you are the reason that our students feel the love and want to keep going and going and going. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. All right. My name is Noel Candelaria, and I'm the proud president of the Texas State Teachers Association. But most importantly, I'm a high school special education teacher from El Paso. So I want to thank you, every single one of you, for saying yes. You said yes to work in our public schools. Whether this was your first year saying yes, or your 30th plus year saying yes, you chose to work with our nation's children, and most importantly, the children in the Edgewood community. You are our nation's builders. You make every single profession in the world possible. And without you, we have no future. Without you, we have no democracy in this country. So thank you for everything that you do on behalf of the Texas State Teachers Association, the National Education Association. We thank you for working in our public schools, and we thank you for building our nation's youth.
So they have come bearing gifts this morning, so we are going to raffle some items. All right, so everybody filled out a little card when they came in, and so those names are in here. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to select our first winner. So you ready, Miss Leti? All right, first winner is... Her eyes are closed. She's not peeking, I promise.
Our first winner today is from Kennedy High School. Kaylee Castañeda.
Kaylee Castañeda from Kennedy. Kaylee, are you here? You're up there. Okay, Kaylee, that's okay. All you have to do is just go to the table that is out here to receive your prize. All right? So just go out to the table that's right here in the lobby, and they will give you your prize. Do we say what it is, or do we let her surprise? You want a surprise?
We'll let it be a surprise.
We'll let it be a surprise. But it's a great gift, especially during this time of year. That's all I'm going to say. I won't say more. All right, we have a second winner. All right, don't peek, Leti. She's looking the other way, I promise. Second winner is...
From Winston Elementary. Et Lavina Flores.
Yeah, all right, you're up. So you do the same thing. You go down there and receive your prize. And we're going to be raffling off more items throughout Thank you. All right, principals, we're not done with you yet. So we know we're getting ready to start the school year. We know we're ready to welcome all of our students, all of our new families that are coming back to Edgewood ISD. So we just have a little token of appreciation for each and every one of you to place at your campuses as we welcome our new students. And these are just some welcome signs for you to place in your campus, anywhere you'd like, however you'd like them to be displayed, but these are for you. So let's give our principals again another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We definitely wish you a very successful year, and just please know we are all here to support each and every one of you. So welcome. I know, we'll try to get more. I promise. We'll get more your way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are your principals. Let's give them a big round of applause before they go back and take their seats. All right, thank you all. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. All right, so now we're going to continue with our program as they make their way down. We're going to continue with our program, and at this time I'd like to welcome Ms. Lilia Gibson, who is joining us from our Edgewood Education Foundation.
Thank you, Kayla. Is singing going on with the show? I feel like I should sing or something, but we're not going to do that. First of all, I want to thank you for this amazing welcome. As Kayla mentioned, my name is Lilia Gibson, and I'm one of the volunteers with the Edgewood Education Foundation. We're a group of community members, alumni, some staff from the school, and our purpose is to help the district with their mission, fulfilling what they need to do for our kids of Edgewood. I, in particular, have had the privilege of coming to your last 4 or 5 convocations, and I gotta tell you, there is something different about this one. I mean, if you could see what I see, it is something amazing. For our students, whatever may be happening in the streets of their neighborhoods, or with their biological families, or their adoptive families, it doesn't matter, because our students have an Edgewood family. Because you are those tios and tias and primos, and sometimes a mommy and a daddy. And thank you for being Edgewood United, and thank you for being their Edgewood family. If you agree, just join me in an applause. The foundation would also like to give a special thank you to Dr. Hernandez, who's taken the time this last year to listen to his family, right? Even the ones that have problems, you listen to your family. No one gets left behind, right? And no one's dead. So the foundation, 2 of our big projects that we do every year is we provide student scholarships for your high school seniors, and we have 2 big events that we do. We have a golf tournament that's coming up November 2nd. It's on a Saturday, so you're more than welcome to join us to play golf or to volunteer and help us out. The other thing we do is our Hall of Fame event, which again, that will be happening in the spring, and you're welcome again to help us with that. One of the other things we brought back, thank you to Dr. Hernandez, is the opportunity for employees and staff to give and donate to the foundation. In your bag will be a little card. If you are ready to donate, please go ahead and fill that out. If you would like your donation to be specific to your campus, put a little star and write your campus name. What that will do is those funds will go into innovative teaching grants for your campus. If you're not ready, please don't throw the card away. Drop it back in the fishbowl so that we can use them again, right? So now, on innovative teaching grants, I'd like to let the teachers and the staff know that September 30th will be the kickoff, and you can start applying online on that date. It will end November the 4th, and we are hoping to do the prize patrol on December 4th. And this year the prize patrol is going to feel like when you walked in outside. Drumline, cheerleaders, all of that. And what's exciting for us when we go to a prize patrol is the look on your students' faces. They look at their teacher like they are so proud of them. So again, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, and congratulations to this Edgewood family. Thank you.
Lilia, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, again, we're feeling very splendid today. So Lilia has also come bearing gifts. So you ready to raffle some items off? Okay. All right. So we have randomly selected, I'm going to switch spaces with you. There we go. We have randomly selected some seats here from our theater. And so if you are sitting in seat F20, check your seat, check your row. F20. You are a winner thanks to our friends at Light Harbor and the Foundation. F20. F, there's a row F and there's a seat 20. The rows are labeled on the sides. F20. Do we have one right here? All right, there you go. Come on up. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. From the Foundation, it's a $50 gift card for PF Chang.
What is your name? Sylvia Gonzalez? And where are you at, Sylvia? Where are you? Stafford, all right. So big congratulations to Miss Sylvia. Enjoy. All right, one more? All right, we got one.
So this one is coming from my law firm, Linebarger. It's a computer sleeve and a little techie bag. Sorry it's not a laptop, but it's a sleeve. There's limits, right?
All right, so we said F20. How about if you're seating in BB8? BB8. Not BB-8, but from Star Wars, but row BBC8. We have somebody up here? Right up there. All right, Miss Samantha's gonna take that gift to you, right up to the top. BB-8, congratulations, thank you. All right, Miss Lilia, thank you very much.
Edgewood ISD has played a big role in my family. My daughter is almost inside. I try to budget with them too in school, pay my rent, pay bills. When school starts, I have to make sure my son has his uniform or the little bit of school supplies I can get for him. I used to work for the Edgewood Independent School District, the buses, the transportation. So I knew Officer Reed. And I never thought I was gonna meet up with him and stuff like that. She made me feel good. She said, "There's no need to feel embarrassed or anything, Maria. We're here to help you in any way we can. Transportation for TJ to school, when you don't have it, we're there. We're not just about being officers. We're here to help the community and beyond, 100%.
Our beloved Officer Reed, who we sadly lost. Oh, I'm going to get emotional. Because she taught us so much about what it is to serve your community, what it is to serve others. She was an incredible inspiration to not only the staff that she worked with, but also with the students that she served every single day and throughout more than 30 years. So we were very sad when we heard the news that she passed away. So at this time, I would just like to take a moment of silence and remember our Officer Reed, also known as RoboCop. you all very much. And thank you to Officer Reed. I say she deserves one last final round of applause from the place that she called home, Edgewood ISD. That's quite a legacy to leave behind. And those are shoes to fill, big shoes to fill. So we need to make sure that we that he's been here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome our superintendent, Dr. Eduardo Hernandez.
Good morning, everybody. Buenos días. One more time in Spanish. Buenos días. Buenos días. All right. So somebody asked me this morning, hey, Doc, so how does it feel today? Does it feel different for you today? I said, you know, a year ago, when I came before you, I just moved to San Antonio. I literally had just been here a month. So I didn't know where General Monroe was. I didn't know that old Highway 90 was not Highway 151. I still didn't know about Roy's Tacos or the Rusty Bucket. I only knew about Tony's La Placita across from my place because I love going there every morning. I didn't know about our pastor who led us in Convocation this morning. I didn't know a lot, but I knew I needed to get out. I knew I needed to get out. I knew I needed to meet people. Now, everybody knows I don't stand in one place. Eventually, I'll start working myself back there during this presentation. But this is a different year. I feel it in the room. I'm watching your faces. I'm watching you interact with one another. That tells me that the message that we're trying to get out, the message that we're trying to live by, which is more important because words, I mean, those don't last. Thanks for the last. Is really getting out there. And that's what today is about. It's about being consistent. So today, don't expect some huge new initiative. That's not what we're up to. That's not what this is about. You asked me not to create something new over and over, and that's not what today is about. So today, last night you got an email, and I showed you what the intended learning outcomes were, because I present like I teach. And so I asked you to look at the intended learning outcomes and watch a video, which was about social emotional intelligence. You've seen bits of that today. That wasn't unintentional. Getting the people that we want to support, which are principals, and when I say principals, that automatically means everybody in the building. And everybody that's out there. Because it takes all of us to support principles. But today is about just the reminder of what was year one like. Year one for us was about understanding our why. For me, my hashtag was at another distance. Just getting out there. Listening to people. Doing more of asking questions and creating opportunities for you to come. To that end, a lot of you took advantage of that Wednesday morning group. I learned a lot of things that you're going to hear about today that had an effect on things like how we budgeted too. There are people in here like Belinda Druin from HBG. Where are you at, Belinda? I told you I was going to put you out there. Where are you? Yeah, Belinda Druin from HBG who came to see me and said, hey, sir, have we looked at what we're doing with LBNs? Had a very good conversation about that. Same thing with our counselor, and I just forgot her name, but I know she's a doctor because I asked her at Loma Park. Where are you at? Yes. And our conversation too. So I remember because that's how a superintendent serves better. By listening. So that's what year one was. Year two, now we're talking about our collective, our story, our why. And how do we continue to explore that conversation? And because I'm a man who thinks forward and is always thinking about how do we sustain something so it just doesn't become a fad, we're going to talk just a little bit about going from understanding our why to our story collectively, and then next year using our voice and our time. The third year with anything you do becomes when you start picking up that stride. It's like when you start teaching. Well, I always tell my board members, by the third year, people start picking up their stride. Whether you're a paraprofessional, a teacher, a principal, whatever you do, it takes a while to get better at it. We have to have the patience to let people learn and get better at what they do. So year 3 is about now being intentional. We know the product we have. You always hear me talk about us as a brand. We know what we've got in our 16 square miles of Edgewood. We got to push outside of the 16, and you're going to hear a little bit about that today. So as always, I'm showing these off because we actually took pictures, right, Lord? We actually took pictures now. So we're very happy. As always, I want to thank my team. My team is my board. This is our team of 8. These are the people who are products of the district, who are humbly serving you. I will tell you, it's not it's not an easy job, because I will tell you, they don't just meet once a month like the traditional boards do. They meet twice. And when we meet to study what they're voting on, it's from usually 6 p.m. to 10, 11, 12. We've been there to midnight a lot of times. Because I want to keep them informed about what's going on in the school. So when they vote, they can vote with an affirmation. That's what leading and sustaining a governance is about. So here's what I heard last year as I was out listening to you guys. I heard a lot about the traditions in the district. I heard a lot about the Red Raider. And last year I told you, if you want to be here to tell the story of the Red Raider, then we have to start pushing our thinking. Because it's not enough to say we're proud to be here, but then we don't do anything about it. We have to start doing something about it. At the end of the year last year in May, when we all ate hamburgers and paletas and we were in here running around, remember that? I said to you, the best market we have is you. When you're at your kitchen table, or you're having a carne asada, or you're at your comadre's house, or whatever you're doing, because we all do it, even the superintendent does. I have tias too. We all got the crazy tias, I got all 3 of them. And so when we're there, you're the ones who advocate for us, because I can't get everything. But my job is to make the information as transparent as possible. So to that end, let's be around to talk about the Red Raider. You also told me about, this works, about the walkouts of the 60s, 68. And all that, yes. I would tell you, for a little kid in East Dallas, that's where I grew up, where there wasn't a lot of Latinos in civics or politicians, I didn't see a lot of this. I knew about it. I studied it when I got to high school and college. But I always felt like I missed out on something. So when I come to Edgewood and I start meeting people, a lot of women leaders in our community. If you go to Burleson, you see all those women that are out there on the mural. That's something to be proud of. I mean, because you don't see that. That's also a part of the fight in the school district. But again, it's not enough just to be proud of it if we're not doing something about it. But we also have purpose. You know, Gardendale, our illustrious principal, got up there and said we have an early learning program. That's the beginning of a 3-year journey. By 2022, Gardendale will be a K-2 early learning program, where little kids don't have to worry about STAR testing anymore. They can go in and learn about being just a little kid, early numeracy, early literacy, but also how to develop their motor growth skills and things like that. I got to go over yesterday, and the furniture and things that are starting to come in, I mean, it is just nice to see our kids get something brand new. And not just our kids. I love that we serve kids, but let's be honest. I want our adults to be smiling too. It's nice to have new stuff. I mean, why do we always have to piecemeal things together? So that's what this work is also about. And so I love what I saw there, Brentwood, and their academy that they had this summer, and bringing the kids in and getting ready for 6th grade. Right now, where are you at, Brentwood? Where are you at, Brentwood? Brentwood is going from 186 kids last year in 6th grade to, I believe, just this morning, Ms. Reina texted me, we're at 326. That's a big deal. They're not just Edgewood kids. Now, there are kids that were in Edgewood that probably left and are now coming back. But again, they came home. That's right. That's how I've been saying on Twitter. You got to come home. Somebody, Mr. Molina, said, Hogar, dulce hogar. They came back home. Because a lot of times you leave something for whatever reason. You might have been mad. Somebody, today's not the day. I'm not the one. They left. And then now they're back. And that's okay. We don't need to be pointing fingers. If you want to come home, then come home. But we're going to get better at what we do. Our girls program in Las Palmas, very large, and go in and advocate for themselves and know that they have a voice. Or what do you call it, Monica? Her story. And you teach them to be able to speak to what they want out of life and that they're enough. I was so impressed that our girls could say, I'm enough, and here's why. We still struggle with that as adults. If you've been around me, you know I have struggled very publicly. I am not ashamed of struggling. That is part of life. I'm in that place in my life because there's been a lot of failures, there's been a lot of things that I didn't accomplish, and that's okay. But I do that because I try to model what I ask people to just consider. And so I'm proud of the work that's going on in Las Palmas. And also over at Perales, who was the other school that we're working on a K-2 model there too, and the work that Terry Silva's doing. And those are the kids that she had also in her summer programming that day. Again, to watch little kids be able to speak to something that they're proud of, there's no money behind that. There's no test you can give a kid to quantify that. Because now we're talking human emotion. And at the end of the day, that's all we are as emotions as human beings. So I'm proud of the purpose also in the school district. This is going to work. Can I get closer? There you go. So that's been a big part of year one for me. I shared this quote with you because the other thing I've learned over the year is that, over the year and in life in general, you know, in life we can't just sit on the sidelines. You can if you just want to sort of live in life. But if you actually want to do something with your life, you have to engage it. And that sometimes means you're going to get your feelings hurt, or you're not going to make it, or you're going to fail. You know, I told my own daughter, it's okay to fail, just fail forward. Because if you fall forward, but you fell a little, you're moving, you're still moving forward. That's okay. I share this with you because I've come to embrace this quote. Through a lot of hard lessons, through crying also, because that's just part of life. I'm not ashamed to admit that. That's part of our why. So a lot of you haven't heard my why, and I'm going to share it rather quickly. The easiest way to sum up my why is this. I hope a lot of you remember this. Maybe I'm old. Everybody remember that? Yes. Yes. The island of misfit toys. So I remember watching that with Madison, that's my daughter, when she was little. And she got me, it's the coolest thing when your kid buys you a t-shirt, because they know you know. That's cool. And so that's how I would sum up my life. Even now as a superintendent, last year when I came, and I went to my first superintendent meeting in Bexar County, I'm the guy that sticks out, because I'm not from South Florida. And so that's cool. You know, I go in, I shake everybody's hand. I'm that kid at school who's, sign my yearbook, that's me. That's the guy, that's who I am when I'm at superintendent's meeting. But that's how I think a lot of us feel. But what we learn, whether intentionally or because somebody told us, we learn to master those things. And then what we do is we create these schools. And we don't talk about those things. Somebody tells us don't talk about it. We don't talk about that. Well, we need to, because there are people, there are kids, and there are adults, and they're in this room, starting with the superintendent, who when we don't, we suffer. So my wife, real quick, I'm the product of two parents that came from Mexico, from San Luis and Jalisco. That's where we're from. We are mariachi lovers, we love mariachi and everything that goes with it. I'll leave that there. So how do you know what that means? And so that's where my journey started. We started as migrant workers. My parents did. And you know what that is? Move around, you know, you leave school, you start over again. Those are the early years for me. The other big part for me was, which again, here's the first business part, I grew up Baptist. My parents were also preachers. And so that's probably where I get the ability to just talk in front of people. I was 5 and I was up there in front of 200 people. My mom would say, I don't think you can tell everybody your testimony. I'm like, well, what testimony? I'm 55. I already have a testimony. Oh my God. And so I'm up there, and so I always like to do a little funny. So this is how I would sum up my church.
Gracious God, our Father, Lord of lords, King of all kings, ruler of the universe, Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, bright and the morning star, hair like lamb's wool, feet like bronze fillet, wings that mount up and fly.
You think I'm playing, but that really was our services in church. I went to a church that had everybody in it. So if you knew my best friends, they're not just Latinos. My best friends come from all walks of life. But that is really how our pastor was. And that's okay, because now as a grown man, I see the effect that it had on me. The other part of it was, last year I told you about Miss Mallory, a teacher in high school, who who said, you know what, I don't know why you're sitting in a reading improvement class. And then all of a sudden I'm in pre-AP classes. A bunch of kids that don't look like me. But that's okay. She said, that's okay. You're going to be okay. I got you. Or Ms. Ross, this is the second teacher. Ms. Ross in 3rd grade, she's on my LinkedIn. She's still a friend of mine. She said, you know what, Eddie? I think you're pretty smart. You don't believe it. You don't believe it. You speak English, you speak Spanish. It's the first time that I realized that I spoke 2 languages and somebody else knew that. That was very profound to me, growing up in a city like Dallas. And Sharon's still my friend. The other big part of my why is those early years when I watched my parents struggle. So how many people know the Pilgrim's Pride symbol? That's the chicken plant people. So Dr. H, this is one of those things you tell people only because it's a huge part of the journey. Being 13 and watching your dad not able to work takes an effect on you. That's one of the few times that I remember smiling when I was that age. It's hard to watch an old man cry because he can't put food on the table. So 13, I went, I lied, and I said I was 18 because I'm a big boy. I mean, look at me. And so I went, I got this job at Pilgrim's Pride. My job was to take those boxes of frozen chicken and put them in the fridge. And I remember doing that. And I always tell the next story because it's still with me. I was there doing that, and all of a sudden I see a lot of people running. So if you've ever been in a plant, they're very loud. And I see all these people running from left to right. So what do? You start running too, right? So I started running, and then all I knew to do was hide under the conveyor belt. And the next thing I know, and I'm going to use a little bit of Spanish, so if you're sending somebody who doesn't speak Spanish, translate. He said, why are you, ¿por qué corres, pendejo? Why are you running? Why are you running? And I said, I don't know, everybody's running. And he goes, the migras here. And then I said, oh, okay. So I was about to pick up my pace, and he goes, but you're a citizen, why are you running? Well, I don't know, everybody ran. And so the immigration officer came up, and he asked me, are you a U.S. citizen? And I said, yes, sir, I am. And I go to jail in middle school, and I shouldn't be here, and I'm 13. I'm right, because I got scared. I mean, I did. And so the next thing I know, they took me to the office. They found out I wasn't, the age. They put me back in school. But that has always stuck with me, because that was one of the few times that I can remember being a kid. Our kids come with things like that. Some of you are sitting in this room with things like that. I share it because those things are challenges for us that if we don't talk about, then we can't serve other people. They still are emotional for me because that's my journey, my life. But those are the things that drive me to do this work. I mean, this is not easy work, but it's work that I love doing. That's why God brought me here. Because I left my whole family to come here. I don't have anybody here. And that's okay, because I'm doing what I want to do. The other part of my journey has been just my education through public schools. That's the Dallas ISD symbol. I got to go to TCU, which is a private school. I would have never gone had I not had some quality teachers. And that's the people in this room. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, teachers are everybody. If you're a bus driver, if you're a person who's serving food and nutrition workers, or you're a custodian, you're all teachers. The other part of the journey, and I share this with you because also listening is also watching. And I don't say this to be critical, I only say it because if we want to grow, then we need to get into this place. I always remain coachable. And I have people around me who would tell me if I started to slip up. Hey, ¿sabes qué? Cálmate, you got to calm down. You don't know it all yet. And that's okay. So I always tell people, stay coachable. I know everybody recognizes that. Yeah. Because everybody knows coach. And that's what he talks about. Is coachable. Are you a coachable person? So I say that to you. You go home and you look at the man or the woman in the mirror, that being yourself. Ask yourself, are you coachable? And if you're not, you might need to have a conversation with yourself. Because we all can get better at what we do. And to that end, I've always surrounded myself with people that can coach me. Or I call them my 3 wise men. In fact, one of them's a lady, but I couldn't find a picture of it. So the first one is Dr. Mike Moses, the former superintendent of Dallas. He was one of my original coaches. The current superintendent of Dallas ISD, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, was another person that I contact all the time. And then one of my best friends, Dr. Teresa Kohler, who's one of the chief officers in another school district in North Texas. But these are the people that I call and that I say, hey, I'm thinking of doing something, what do you think? And a lot of it is because I always can use somebody that reminds me if this is really a part of my core. The other has been my kids throughout the years. I'm one of those people, if you've been to my office, you walk into the left and you see a little shelf with stuff. You give me something, I take it with me. I value everything that you give me. Because to me, if you gave it to me, you took the time, that means there's a connection to it. And that's just how I am. So my kids have always been an inspiration. I'm very grateful for the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's part of the contribution of life. I like to tell people when they do good things. That's just me. So if you've ever gotten a card from me this year, know that came from a good place, because I don't just give out cards to give out cards either. I'm very intentional about the specific thing that I want to highlight. Because we can all use a kind word every now and then. We can all do that. And so that's part of, when I see you guys in here smiling and having a good time, and the room, honestly, guys, really does feel different from us here. And I am not saying that it's because of Dr. H. I'm just one part of this whole district, of the environment that we are creating for our kids. So it ain't me, it's all of you. I'm just trying to get you to be reflective, because that's what's helped me. And I believe it will help our children. That's the whole purpose of today, Convocation and talking. That's what my purpose is. Everybody that, since I got here, I love that picture. I don't know who caught it of me, but that is how I feel when you get to serve kids every day. So, yeah, thank you very much. So essentially what I've been talking about since I got here is about our culture. I heard about a culture that had pride, purpose, tradition, but we still have work to do. You know, a lot of times now you see these shows where people go like, at the start, it's a 1 hour show, and the first minute they're struggling, and then by the 45th minute, bam, they made it. And so now little kids think, oh, 45 minutes, hey, I can do that. And so that's not the way it works. We all know it doesn't work like that. Culture building takes time. It's even what we're doing today. It's even when I watch you cheer each other on, or I see you pat someone on the back, or a card or something. That's what culture is. Culture is also understanding and having the maturity that sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. My executive team knows that because I tell them all the time, and I tell the principals too. You have to go slow to go fast. Sometimes you don't make it. Let's use the word, sometimes we fail. That's okay. I'm not the kind of superintendent that's a one-size-fits-all. Well, that school made it, how come you can't make it? It is, every building is different. As unique as you are, I want to make sure that we're treating you that way too. So we have to have the maturity to understand that you got to go slow to go fast. We're going to pick up pace. So again, last year was about meeting with just different groups, different forums, and just really working and listening. That is not something that, okay, I'm going to listen to you sit there and checked out half the time or on your phone. No, it's actually trying to listen to the message behind the message. And just different individuals, and I can't say that I got every individual thing. Just like I know tomorrow the sun's going to rise, somebody in here is going, well, and I get that. I said when I got here, I'm human. I'm not going to get it all right. I'm asking you as I did a year ago. Give me some patience. Give me some time. I will get there. There are some things that we have done to try to make things better. But I'm not going to stop listening. That would go completely against my character. But here's what you told me last year. No more programs, Doc. No more new programs. Please, let's think about what we're using our money. Be open. Communicate. Transparent. If you see the little Bitmoji, you know what that's for. A lot of you have used it. Keep using it. I'm still booked through like November right now. Keep using it. Because that's what it's there for. I want to hear. Be efficient. I added since the last time ECHS, and I cannot remember her name, and I'm really good. One of our folks at the high school said, can we please look at the early college high school? We started it, and it's still missing some pieces. Can we discuss it? You sent it to me on Twitter. I know you're in here. And I can see your face. Macias, Lizette? Did I make that up? And so I heard you. I heard you, and we're going to keep working on that. But also give us opportunities to grow. Create opportunities for some of us to move out of where we are. And that's also part of the work too. So that's what I heard last year. That's what year one's been about. Is making sure that we stay about our number one outcome. That we do it through our 3 core values. You've heard me talk about that a lot, so I'm going to keep moving. It's about being professional, getting the job done, interacting well with others. But really the other one is how you approach your job. We all have a different responsibility in the district. So I'll remind you every day when you come to work. I know not every day is perfect, y'all. Dr. H, has those days too. But think about how you approach your job and how you approach the people that you have an opportunity to serve. Because I'm going to tell you something, it is an opportunity to serve people. That's a true statement. You are where you are because life puts you there. And if you don't believe that, if you pray or if you're reflective, think about that. Because there's somebody else who wishes they could do what you do. And that's important. Be accountable. We have to be accountable for the work that we do. And at the end of the day, yes, I know we have results to deliver. But I always tell my folks, don't ask people to do something if you don't take the time to establish those expectations to do it. That takes a lot of work, but you need to do that. And of course, we have to address when we're not performing, or what we say underperforming. So you're going to hear this from our speaker later, but I was so impressed by what she said to us when she met with us. I give you permission to address underperformance. And that really stuck with me, like, wait, what? Yes, I give you permission to address underperformance. I think I know why she said that, because it's hard. Think about the people you love and the people you work with. It's hard to point things out. When someone's maybe not considering other things, or they're doing something that isn't very positive, that's a hard conversation to have. I see that. But they're conversations that we have to have, because we want to continue to get better. And of course, communicate. And learning how to communicate, and doing it early and doing it often. You know, true story, a big part of communication is also being able to understand feedback. I use that poster there because last spring, when Ms. Munoz and her team were doing research on the girls program, we went up to Dallas, and we went to the all-girls school. And they had that in their classrooms. And I asked one of the little girls, what's that for? She said, we're learning how to accept feedback, so that when something needs to be talked about, my friend can tell me. That is the most simple way of addressing underperformance or giving somebody feedback. And I ain't gonna lie to you, because I always tell my executive team, the learning starts with us. We use that in the executive team because we still struggle with it too. That's just a natural human quality that sometimes it's hard to have these conversations. But again, I show that up there because if you can see that a little clearly, that's our academic officer, Ms. Salinas. She leads our academics department. That's her using it right there at the retreat that we had. We're going to start modeling the work that we're doing. The other thing is, this first year, we highlighted people in our district who demonstrate qualities of the pack. Everybody knows the people out there, I'm going to go through it, but these are individuals who would demonstrate through their actions, and sometimes, like our officer there, nobody asked him to clean that man, but he wasn't going to keep putting our kids on there if it wasn't clean. That's exactly, those were his thoughts when he did that. I think that is extremely commendable when somebody just thinks about somebody else before themselves. Those are the things that are important. So last year I went all over the place and handed these out. I made you get up in front of people, I took your pictures, I flashed you all over the place. That's important because everybody wants to be seen. So the other thing we're doing as a board with our board is we're putting our money where our mouth is. That is the budget that we just passed this year. We have about a $100 million budget in our district. That's as much as a Fortune 100 company. That's a lot of money. And so our board is committed to making sure that we have 5 goals as a school district, and that's where we spend our money. I want you to look at goal 1. It's all about student success. We're spending $72 million on just that one area. And we should be. That's where most of our money is going. So a lot of you said, I want to know where the money's going. That's fine. There you go. That's where it's going. We got to be transparent, and that starts with the superintendent. So what is that going to do for us? We're going to continue to do improvements in our buildings. So there's an example what we're going to do at Fine Arts Academy. This building, we're going to change the carpet, we're going to do new lighting, we're going to put the big TV screens in here so it looks a little more pristine, as the young lady said, because we rent this building out a lot. And so this building needs to look a little better, need some banners and stuff, so that when people come to our house, they go away and they're like, man, this is pretty cool. And this is a pretty beautiful theater, it really is. We're going to start doing improvements at Veterans Stadium in our restrooms. I don't know if you've been in the restroom, I always say this. Our restrooms need to work. I'm just going to leave that right there. So we're also looking at our football field and helping our coach. You know, Coach Gomez does so much work. You're going to hear about Coach Gomez in a little bit. But those are all qualities of people that are working really hard for our school district. So the other part that our board was committed to was to making sure that we increased our raises. So I know a lot of you have been following me on Twitter. I put this up there, but we were able to give everybody a 3% raise. Yes. We're able to help out our bus drivers and, of course, our nurses, putting our Harris County. Gotta listen. That isn't enough because I'm saying all that. That's just keep telling me. That's how I found out about those things. The other thing we're doing in the school district is, and you've heard me talk about this, is the innovation zone. And there is a lot of work that is already going on in this area. So we have high quality early childhood. Dr. Miller, her team, and the different principals are doing high quality work in our Head Start. Obviously, we know that that's important to our children. Our district had the foresight to fund this a few years back. So we've already been putting kids into our program. So thank you to those individuals. On our STEAM Innovation Zone, there's progress. So here's the first update I can give you. There we go. Garden Hill. If you haven't seen the garden that's going up in the middle there, it's not finished yet, but it is going to look really nice, these early childhood projects. Our kids, yesterday I went and I told the teacher, man, if I was 4, that might as well be a forest for me. Because when you're little, that looks like a forest. And so that's cool to see the little kids excited about things like that. I wasn't able to take a picture, but they're actually going to build a trike track. Did I say that right? Yeah, a trike track on the other side where the kids will be able to go around on their tricycles. Because that develops those those motor control skills. That's important in the early years. That's what those pre-K or those K2 campuses are going to be about. Just focusing on the early years. And we talked about Perales is the other one that we're working on right now, the K2. And that's actually a young lady presenting. I can't tell who the other presenter is. That's Dr. Manthey. She's presenting her ideas. So of course, there's our prom principal, Ms. Silva, and her kids that came to this summer programming. And guys, the kids designed those shirts and then had them printed, which I thought was really cool. Yes, these are little kids doing this work. Again, they can do this. And then there's Brentwood. That's from the 6th grade. Come get your schedule. And meet the teacher and I. Again, from 186 to 326. The school's already at from 5 third grade to 700. That's good this year. So their numbers are going to continue to grow. And I thank that community, that principal, her folks, because it hasn't been easy. But I also want to thank our PPS folks, Mr. Williams, those folks, because I went over to Roosevelt, Mr. Reyes, who I always go and say hello to, and say, hey, we're going over to help out because we got to get that school ready. We got to get ready for kids. That's not his campus, but it doesn't matter. It's how is that going to look for all of us as the education community? That's the attitude we have to have. Yes, that's important. That's important. So with Kennedy, the other things that are going on when you wonder, well, what do you guys do there in the main office? So, because I know we all do. Hey, I admit it. I thought that when I was on a campus too. We have folks like our principal at JFK who went out to Dell with Mr. Chavez and that team, and they're having these things called compression meetings and establishing relationships with companies like Dell, so our kids can go do job shadowing. That's getting kids ready for the workforce. So that's new thinking. Our new chief officer that just came in, the one with the guitar, that's the work he's going to continue. Because guys, it takes work to just get these meetings going, and then you have to know what you're going in there and talking about. You can't just sit there and be like, well, we need your help. Okay, now what? You have to know what you're going in there and asking for, because they're ready to work. They're just investing in their future workers. That's all they're doing. But that's okay. We can use that to our advantage. On our leadership side with our Young Men's and our Young Women's Academy. Right now, our Young Women's Academy is the one that's coming on board. But that work that they're doing at this time, that's another one of our young ladies that was explaining that she was enough and was able to articulate it in a way that I know when I was that age wasn't happening. And so that's important work that's going on in our schools. So there's still work that we need to do in these zones. But for me, the idea would be to move our kids from these zones into one of our 3 high schools. So they have options. Because what I'm hearing when I'm getting out into these pláticas, and a lot of you know I get out into the neighborhoods a lot, is it's that middle school jump that parents get afraid of. When they leave elementary to go to middle school, it's like, oh man, that's scary to parents. I'm not saying it's you middle school. All I'm saying is that's the perception that parents have. So how do we offer options for our kids and for our community? Our performing arts zone, we're still not quite there yet, but that's another one of our areas that's in the works. But we have a perfect area, I think, to continue to develop that zone. So I'll let you look at that picture, and it's probably going to be painfully obvious to you where that would be. But we have a Fine Arts Academy already. So they need a pipeline of kids that start when they're little. So when they get up there, and they're up here in these beautiful costumes, and they look as proud as they do, that's what we want in our community. So our kids have a place, so they don't feel like Dr. H did as a misfit. Because I will tell you that they're probably feeling like that sometimes. So we And then, of course, our culinary education and health innovation zone. We have work that's already existing at Memorial. They had an agreement signed with Baptist Health System, yes, Memorial. I believe that is our provider kids, and I just read an article yesterday that Baptist Health is going to put an emergency center right there at Port SA. And they're in the middle of that conversation. So I said that to our, Dr. H is always looking for opportunities. So I said it to Mr. Nestor, and I said, hey, we need to get in the middle of that. Because that's going to be down the street from us. So how does that open opportunities for us? We have to think like that and take advantage of these opportunities. So you hear me talk about the hashtag 1355. There's our hashtag. We have one outcome, which is to graduate the kids. We have 3 core values, which is the PAC. We have 5 board superintendent goals. We have 5 zones. And that's the one hashtag 1355. You hear me talk about that, that's what I'm talking about. So all that was to sum up, and then I'll start picking up here. Year 1. All right. All right. So year 2. So we started a conversation. We took this picture in Castroville a couple of weeks ago when we were out there with all the administrators talking about the work that we had done in year 1. Moving into year 2, talking about emotional intelligence. And really starting to think about why we think how we think. To that end, you've heard this morning a lot about hashtag details matter. And why the little things in life matter. So I want to show you a video of one of our principals who is a product of our school district and who have a lot of respect for this young man. Because he always has a positive attitude, and he sort of led us in a little chant here. But his story is also really important.
There's a great community here that's just getting ready to bust at the seams of the potential of what's going on. And I think we're on the cusp of greatness, and I'm glad and excited to be a part of that. The value that has been instilled upon me within the district and within myself is that I need to be able to be a good role model for the community, for my peers, for my students, but most importantly, for my family. As an administrator or someone who cares about the community, you look at the specifics and the details that make something up. You know, sometimes it's not as strong as it can be. We've got to worry about every facet. I want us to be a model school district, and how you become truly grassroots, how you empower the people around you. That way they feel like I'm truly part of the solution. And I think our district has gone through great steps these past couple of years to get through that, but the details matter.
Serve and support. You'll hear me say that a lot too. We are going to continue to serve and support the community that we're in. We're going to use all of our resources, including our sometimes kids make mistakes, our DAC kids, and our officers who help them do the food drive and teach them about giving back to the community that sometimes maybe they make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We don't need to be punitive to kids. So we teach our kids those things. We're going to continue to listen. This is the Tenorio family over there near Perales. I got to go visit them the other day. Yes, Silva calls them legacy families because they've been with us for many, many years. So the other day, we were all out there. It was hot, I ain't gonna lie to you. But such a good family, I didn't realize they have like a party house back there. I mean, I might even just show up back there. But really good family. We've got 3 of their kids. These are the families that have stuck with us when others left. I think we owe them that much. To continue to understand our why, to continue to approach them with purpose, and to really take the time to serve people. If we really love people like we say we do, then let's take the time to keep developing our district. So part of that is also for me, to be transparent as a superintendent, is learning from other superintendents. I signed myself up to join the Council of Great City Schools. Because let me tell you something, we are a proud Edgewood community, but we're also in the city of San Antonio. And San Antonio is an international city. We need to start thinking more international. There are things coming to San Antonio that we have to be ready for as adults, but so do our kids. And it is up to us to prep them for that. By 2030, we are expected to double in size from 1.3 million to 2.6 million. I want you to think about 2030, not that far. What are we getting our kids ready for? And if Edgewood's still going to be here to talk about the walkouts, to talk about the Red Raiders and everything else, then we got to work that through our kids. Because the class of 2030 is already in our schools. Do the math in your head. They are already in they're down in the elementary schools right now, is where they are. So that's when the city so sorry, but traffic's coming too. So for a guy from Dallas, I don't think there's traffic here, but I'm sure by then there will be. So get ready for the traffic that's coming. But all that to say, we're going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to not follow a one-size-fits-all mentality with our schools, and serving each one of you in the best way possible with your schools. And also remembering that success takes time. You know, a lot of people think that success is overnight, and it's not. It takes time. Most people only get to see the top. Oh, look, they got the award, or they got the brand new car, or they got the job, or whatever. What people don't see are all these other things. That's where that's like my coach would say, in the fourth quarter is when we win games. In the fourth quarter when you win a game. And if you give up, game over. We can't give up. There's too much riding on us as educators. Again, when I say educators, that means everybody in here, for our kids in our community. So remember that when we're out there. And I know we have those days. And so to that end, we're going to do some things. So we're going to start looking at our practices. I'm going to tell you, because I've spent this first year watching, we have some very antiquated systems and processes that existed back in the 70s, probably 80s, that quite frankly are counterproductive to what we're trying to do. They're restrictive. So we've got to create more options. That's where innovation is. We've got to address the areas we're not doing well in. But we're going to do that in a humane and dignified way. And we have to be accountable to one another. And we can do that being dignified also. Well, that's just getting real, folks. But much like anything else, I don't do those kinds of things in public. That's just not the way I am. It's just a conversation that I'm having right now. So here's where we are as a school district. Last year, we were a D district. We're moved up to a 78 in this year. And I think that's good. That's preliminary, but we made this a while back, but now it's official as of today. We are official now at 78. The goal is to get into a solid B category for next year. That takes everybody in here. In terms of college and career readiness, that's for the senior level. And how we're getting them out. We're going from a 61 to an 83 in here. That's awesome. Overall, I'm gonna do some light talking, because I know there's people in here that I had meetings with elementaries, middles, and high schools about some follow-up. I'm not going to get into that information, but I do believe that just like with anything else, we do have to address people's hard work. So we have one campus that will sit at the B rating this year. So Memorial, where are you at? When our scores started to come out, you remember last year I said, we're more than a test. And when I met with folks, I said, now don't think that now the superintendent's going to, now all of a sudden I'm going to be mad because not everybody got a B. That's not going to change. I don't take a one-size-fits-all approach to everything. And not everybody starts on the same start line. Somebody's start line might be up there, somebody's might be back here. Everything's different. So to judge you the same would be immoral, it would be unethical, and it would be, quite frankly, ignorant on my side. I've been a principal in that place. It is hard to get out of certain places. So to that end, I want to talk about we have 3 campuses that are getting a C rating this year individually. So Kennedy went from a 65 to a 76, and I think that's also very good. I want to talk about Roy Cisneros too, because even though you may say, well, Doc, they dropped 4 points. That's 3 principals last year in 1 year. Their principal who's been there 8 years went to Kennedy. And we got a new principal, yes, Tracy. And so then we got a new principal. And for other reasons, she left. We got an interim principal. And then she she wasn't going to stay long. She was retired. She didn't want to be there that long. Retired, hey. And then we got our wonderful principal there, Dr. Herrera. And I know the faculty. So those are things you have to consider. Or what am I going to do? Should I be all mad at Dr. Herrera? No, that's not the way this works. Then you have our performing arts who got to say, first time they've been rated. But I think that's commendable, and it's the starting point for that group. So yes, we should be starting. So we also have 3 campuses that have moved into the D rating or remain there. But again, the story is different for each one. I'm going to start with HBG. Where are you at, HBG? So HBG went from an F rating with a 55 to a 67. That's a good. And I will tell you that here's where I think details matter. This week, you know, we're all busy, and I'm busy too, just like everybody else. But I felt it had to be important, and I know they're in here going, he's about to say our name. There's 3 instructional coaches that were there last year who provided a lot of support to that campus. Now, I could have said, well, you know what, it's busy, they'll understand. And that's not to take from anybody else's ICs either. I just know because I'm talking about this school right now. Karen and some of our other folks, where are our other folks? They, Esmeralda, oh my God, I just drew a blank. Ortega, Maria. You had a lot to do with that too. So thank you to you. Thank you to the team. Even the teachers who aren't with us anymore, because I believe in the energy in the universe, you still have to thank them because that is commendable work. So thank you to our principal. Thank you to that group. I love to see how y'all been standing up for her. So thank you guys. Where you at? And then I think of Las Palmas, who you may say, well, they went down 5 points. Yes, but they're in the middle of this innovation work. And I know that community collaborates with the rules. So I know they're out there in that community. They walk. This is the 2nd year I know they've been getting out there again. There's a lot of work that's going into staying at least. All right. Out of NF rating. So Las Palmas, where are you at, Las Palmas? Thank you for all your work, Las Palmas. Thank you, Mr. Bobcat. Gus Garcia, where are you at, Gus Garcia? So Gus Garcia, first-year principal in a school that had been chronically overperforming. Yeah, I think that's a big deal. So you may say, well, Doc, that's just 4 points. Those are 4 hard points to get. Because you're talking about changing a culture in a school. And that's not to say there wasn't anything good there. There was a lot of good there. It's just reminding people that we can have good, but we still need to handle some business. So people can come back and be proud for other reasons to be a member of Gus Garcia. The same thing for another school that's not up here. But one of our other schools made a 3-point jump. They didn't quite make it out of the F range. But I made a point to say to them, those are 3 hard points that you got. And I know because there was faculty change. There was a lot of new principal, first-year principal too. I look at all those factors when I look at things like this. That's important. Again, there is not a one-size-fits-all. To kids or to adults. Every adult in this room. We all want that, so let's give it to each other. So with that being said, we did get our distinctions listed. And so I do want to announce that Memorial is going to be high. They're going to get 5 distinctions. Even my board didn't know it. We just got it last night. Ms. Portillo, we're going to be ordering banners for these schools so they can put it out there on the campus and we can put it in our administration building. John F. Kennedy, you're getting 4. Fine Arts, you're getting 2. So we're going to buy you the banners. You can post them out there in front of your building. We'll get Mr. Williams folks to go put them out there. We're going to have them on the building at Commerce. But again, we've got to continue to tell our story. So these are things to be proud of. This is also the first step of many steps that we expect to continue to have. And we're bringing up more schools with more distinctions. Because ladies and gentlemen, it is very doable. The only thing that keeps us from doing it is us. You know, it's okay to be successful. I'm going to let that hang there. It is okay. We don't have to fear being successful. I think sometimes you can be in a dark place for a while and you forget that it's okay to be successful. I'm going to going to say that a lot this year. Be successful, it's okay, own it. It feels good. It feels it's the opposite feeling of when you're feeling bad or you're torturing yourself. So remember that. It's okay, it's okay. So, next 5 years. You probably got these in your bags. This is just a very quick, easy way of summing up what we're doing the next 5 years. I'm not even going to spend any time with it. It's just where we're going for the next 5 years. So here's what we're going to add in form of a conversation. You've already heard me talk about emotional intelligence. And last night I sent you a video that I wanted you to review in preparation for today. That is an important conversation to have because we can't reach children if we don't understand them and the trauma that they're bringing. So I know I don't have to say this to our social workers and our counselors because I hear it from you and our nurses all the time. It's true. But the rest of us need to put emphasis on this area because it's important to that end. I'm going to do this training with my board too. This is important in areas like the area that we get to serve in because again, it continues to be an honor to do so. You saw those anger charts. I think I had sent something to you guys on Twitter, and then last night I sent you this video. I'm not going to play it all.
Today in our School Matters series, we look at how educators tackle mental health in the classroom. As we've told you, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Advocacy groups say in a given year, nearly 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness. This morning, Jamie Yukis shows us how one Northern California teacher is encouraging students to reveal their own struggles through a simple exercise.
All right, I'm going to start at the top of page 84. 100 kites.
It's a good place to start in a traditional language arts lesson.
So what happened? We read this part yesterday.
But for Aaron Castillo students, classwork like this quickly turns into a discussion on mental health.
And while you do that, I'm also going to have you do the check-in on the poster for today.
The poster, Castillo's own creation, is a way for students to share their feelings, a visual representation of how her class is doing emotionally.
So I want you to think about that work. Come back there. I want you to think about that work in the classroom. I know folks like Melissa Cruz and Roosevelt, where are you? If I put your picture on Twitter this morning, she's already doing that for her room. Those things are important. So I'm going to leave that there in terms of the work you're doing with your principals, but I believe this to be important. Our kids need to know that when they come in, so I know we say shake their hand at the door, that's important. But it's also important to know how they're coming in that day. And it can be something as one of your procedures this week when you start doing procedures with them. Don't bypass the opportunity to let a child know that you care about them, and this is how you do it every day. We don't have to say every 2 seconds, I love you, I love you, I love you, because it gets old. This demonstrates to them every day that in a very subtle way, I care about you. And I want to know how you're doing today. So I'm going to leave that hanging there, but that's important in our conversation. So today you're going to hear from Libby Spears, who talks about this work, about leadership, or what affects leadership. And so I've used these quotes throughout my presentation, learning how to think about our thinking, giving ourselves permission to give and accept feedback, and to be a thought partner to somebody else. So you're going to hear her talk a little bit about that this morning. So I wanted to just cue it up for Libby when she gets up here. But here's year 3, so I'm almost done. As we move into year 3, our work goes from my why, our why, to now using our voice and being intentional with it. So Anna can too, yes, we stole that picture. We thought that was a really good picture. But here's why we're doing that. Our kids today are living inside that 16 square miles that I talked about. That 16 square miles can be both warm and you feel like you're home and you're comfortable, but it can also be limiting in the sense that they won't go out and they won't go see the world. It's going to come to them anyways. So we've got to start thinking outside of these 16 square miles and getting them ready for the world that they need to go be a part of and that they need to go represent and say, I'm a product of JFK, or I'm a product of Memorial, I'm a product of Performing Arts, or Winston, or Gus, or Brentwood, or whatever the school is. Because I always quote this guy. Talent is everywhere. Everybody has talent. But at some point in our lives, opportunities might not have been there. And while we can sit here and argue, well, I didn't get a chance to do this, I can't fix the past. My job is to create opportunities for our kids and our adults. We'll talk more about that in future years. I want opportunities for you too. Because if you're happy, our kids are going to be happy too. And that's important too. That's why we're talking about emotional intelligence. To that end, we're now starting to study our blocks in our neighborhood. Because everybody says, oh, well, you know, Edgewood's poor. Yes, but there are different levels of poverty. There are homes led by grandparents. There are homes led by a single parent. Or whatever the situation may be. We need to know about that so we can provide programming that supports people. And not just in schooling. Sometimes it's, where do you access, how do you pay a bill? Where do you leave your driver's license? Our FLI Institute does remarkable work with our parents. And I thank them for the work they've been doing. Although our parents, I don't know where you are in here, guys, but I do appreciate the work, there you go, the work that they're doing with our parents. That's important. That's a big part of what we do. So again, that's thinking beyond the 16 as we keep this work moving forward. So in the future, we're going to sustain this work through these things. We're going to continue to invest in our folks. We had a state of the district in this building on this stage. We invited 150 of the most probably influential people in Bexar County and re-engaged about what Edgewood is. And they were up here and our kids performed off that balcony up there. It was the coolest thing actually that day. But this was to let them know, look at what's happening here and come back and re-engage with us because we need your help. We need your partnerships. So we're going to continue to do state of the district. That's where I report out to the whole city, not just Edgewood. That's important. We can't want to play with the big boys and then not do what they do. That's how it works. We're going to continue to invest in high-quality early learning and leverage people like Dr. Miller, who's an expert in this area, and Dr. Brea out of Pre-K Presse also, and all the different teachers that go into our schools, and our parents and everybody in our buildings. We're going to continue to provide those high-quality learning opportunities in our school district. We're going to focus on dual literacy because the research shows that if you have a bilingual, biliterate child, they go farther in life. So we just brought someone in, one of our new directors, so we're going to build on the good work that's there, but we're also going to create opportunities for our kids. We're also going to look at teacher prep programs for pipelines to get more folks into our schools and also talk to people that are not necessarily here like Teaching Trust, who bring in folks and support them in the classrooms. Because every year we need new teachers. I mean, that's just everybody in education now. We're going to support the whole child. I've talked about this all morning. And just getting out, that's Roosevelt, I think that's Stafford this week. Getting out there to the neighborhood. We're going to continue to do that every year. That's my expectation of our principals. We get out there. We're going to continue to support our innovative schools and then look at the pathway to technology options in our high schools. So this year, I made the decision that we would now start supporting that work in terms of a pipeline by giving every one of our middle schools a 6th grade AVID teacher. And so, yes, that's important. And so for the next 3 years, we're going to give them an AVID teacher so that those teachers hopefully will move up with their kids. So we have 3 AVID teachers in every middle school. And we can support that work so that when they get to high school, our high school folks can receive them in the early college high schools. They have a better chance of actually being able to take college courses and being successful. Because one of our goals ultimately is we will have a National Merit Scholar pipeline. So that's how we build that pipeline in 6th grade. A lot of districts do it at 9th. We do it in 6th. We need the 3 additional years. And elementaries, one of you told me, what about elementaries? Give me some time. We're getting there. And so the last part is making college affordable. So I don't know that you know this, so I'm going to share this. But Alamo Colleges did some remarkable work here in the last year. They just passed something called the Alamo Promise. The Alamo Promise guarantees the first 2 years of college to any child that participates in one of 28 high schools in Bexar County. Our high schools are included now. So any of our high school kids that graduate can get 2 years at any of the colleges for free. So what we're trying to do is package that item up and maybe marry it to the university the last 2 years so we can offer pipelines for our kids. That is a big move that will have an effect, as big of an effect as high quality early learning. Now it's on the other end when we get them out. That's what a major international city does. They invest. So I think that for everybody that's in here who is a citizen of San Antonio, we need to do our part because we're that middle pipeline. We got to get our kids moving. So that's how we sustain this work. So I'm at the end. So talk to you about 3 things today. Talk to you about year 1, affirmed year 2, and where we're going in year 3. All of this hinges on leadership. And not just principals, not just the superintendent, not just the board. Every one of you is a leader in your own right. So when you're about to make a decision, or you need to take I always teach the 24-hour rule because you're not having a good day, do it. Because sometimes we can't take back what comes out of our mouth. We we have to be that mature about things. So leadership matters in everything that we do in our school district. It matters because here's what I see when I'm out there every day. I see people like Mary Cantu in HR who are extremely professional at how they treat people. I've been very impressed with Cantu. I see people like Coach Coleman. A lot of people don't know that Coach Coleman goes, he deserves a round of applause. He mows the lawns over there near the Minnesota courts. There's a park back there. And nobody asked him to, but he goes and mows them so kids have somewhere to play. He's been doing that for, I believe, years now. And nobody asked him to. But again, going back to the detail, that detail matters. Or one young man who, and I know a lot of you are going to recognize him. I don't care where you see him, he's always smiling. This guy is not me. It's the other guy. Leo Hernandez. Everywhere he goes. I'm going to assume Leo, like the rest of us, has a life outside of work, and he's got probably things on his mind. But this guy is like that. Always smiling. That's intentional. That's important. And the last person I'm going to bring up, so we spend a lot of time talking about tradition and purpose, and we want to be here. When you have someone who, up until the day they go home, and I mean home in the religious sense, and who do a lot of work for our school, then we have to honor the work that goes on. Because that was done with intention. It's not like she didn't have other things to do. But she found her purpose. The book that I read tells me that when we walk in our purpose, we can serve other people. She obviously walked in her purpose. You all have a purpose, and whether you accept it or not, it's there. All I'm asking you to do is to listen to that voice when you come into work every day. Even on the days that it gets hard, because guess what? The superintendent has hard days too. That's the nature of it. But it's okay to accept that and find somebody who can help you through those moments, because there's too much quality going on in our district for people to just put us in this little box and throw us off to the side. Well, that's just that you're not. We're so much more than that. And that has nothing to do with STAR. It just has to do with our people and our district and each one of you. I want you to remember that as you go back to this school year, because no place like home, right? That's what this is all about. I came to you a year ago and I said it's an honor to be your superintendent. It still is an honor to be your superintendent. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much to Dr. Hernandez. Thank you for pushing us to do more, to be better, and to always remember our why. Excuse me, sorry. Now we're going to present to you our final video for our Details Matter series. We want everybody to see that and enjoy that. And then I want you to understand, and I hope you're walking away with, by looking at these videos, that you understand a little bit more about what it is that those details matter. Again, it could be a hug, it could be a handshake, it could be a service, it could be just that additional support that we need. So we're going to present the last Details Matter, and we are going to continue with the campaign, not only through the fall school year, but also through the spring. So we are going to continue this through the entire year. So thank you again very much, and I hope you enjoyed the last video. This is our Details Matter video with Ms. Vanessa Bentley.
My sons have developmental delays, so we were on waiting lists for therapists. It was just becoming a problem. My sons were having more issues. I think just every day I was constantly looking for help, resources, tools. My sister had mentioned the Head Start Early Childhood Center, that they had really good experiences with it. I looked into it. I could feel that my family story, my son's difficulties, that it resonated with them. A week later, I got a phone call that my sons were accepted. I do feel that the details do matter here at Edgewood ISD. All the growth that I've seen in my sons, the support and love from their teachers, their teacher aides, it's made a world to us. I don't know where we would have been without starting the school.
and gentlemen, details matter in Edgewood ISD. So now we're going to continue with our show, and I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for the morning. She is Miss Libby Spears. Miss Libby has a very long rap sheet for breaking rules and asking too many questions. I love that. While it didn't serve her well as a young kid in school, she has honed it into her greatest strength. She is an educator, a liberator, an entertainer, the perfect mix for learning. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Miss Libby Spears a big Edgewood round of applause and welcome.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm gonna have a happiness hangover. Who's laughed so far today? So if you've laughed and smiled and no, really? Who's cried? So who's had a couple of tears? I've had to do this a couple of times to make sure that my eyeliner isn't running. So I got here a little bit early and hung out in the room as you were making your way into this beautiful space. And I was kind of paying attention to different groups and watching you have fun and reunite. So lots of people hugging and haven't seen each other over the summer, so you're so happy. And I was just really looking for that one person that sort of personified, I think, the spirit of the day. And it's usually a person that, no matter where I am in the room, I can't take my eyes off of them because they're just filled up with something. And so I want to start first by saying that this person, really entertained me because they were excited to be here and having fun, and every time a new song came on, was dancing and enjoying themselves. And so, will you stand up? Would you be willing to come home with me to Dallas, Texas, and live with me for forever? Well, at the very least, tell us your name and where you're from.
I'm Ida Theo, and I'm from
So I want to give you a little prize. It's a copy of my book. And I don't want to brag too much, but my mom said it was the third best book she's ever read. Next to the Bible. And then probably something by like Bill O'Reilly. I don't know, but she said it was the third best book she'd ever read. And I want to give you that because you got me excited about being here today. Yeah. And by the way, like your whole group, y'all represent. Yeah, like you guys represent. Who has the drum? The rest of you are putting on your list for next year, bring drum. Right? Oh, you got a whole percussion thing going. Oh my God, I can't even handle this. Well, I am thrilled to be here. I got to spend time with your senior leadership team. I got to spend time with your school leadership a couple of weeks ago. We had such an amazing time. And I was invited to come back and spend some time with you. And so I thought what I would do is, just in light of everything that you've heard so far this morning, I thought I'd take a few minutes and put it into context for you as an individual in this room. Because you've got a lot of content this morning, and I think the big question is, once you get up and walk out of this room, what do you do with all of it? How do you make sense of it? How do you plug it in and make it meaningful for you? And so I'm going to present to you in a moment just a little activity that I use called What Do You Bring to the Table? We have a couple of volunteers who I'll invite down in a few minutes to join me on stage. And I'm going to offer this to you as a strategy that you can use, not just today, but throughout this coming school year, to continue to connect back to some of these goals that you have as a district by asking yourself, in what way are you as an individual going to contribute to this very exciting vision that you have about your future and the possibilities in your district? So how many of you have had breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Magnolia in Waco? Has anybody made the trip? So not getting paid. This is not a paid advertisement. They have really good business though. So I was there a while back. I walked in, and on one of their walls they have, up against the wall, you'll see here it says where everyone has a seat at the table. And of course I had to make a picture of it and save it because it represents essentially what I believe about the world in general. And that is, we need to create spaces within our communities where everyone is welcome to our table. And we need to be the kind of place where if we don't have or we are not offered a seat, we bring our own. Right? So if there's not a seat made for you at the table, just go ahead and grab that fold-in chair in your garage and bring it and come to the table. Because I am of the opinion as a former educator that we need you at the table. We need you in the conversation. We need your talents and your gifts that you bring to your district, to your school, to your community. We need you there. And what I ask of you as educators, because I am of the same opinion, everyone in this room is an educator in some capacity. And what I ask of you as educators is that when it is your turn, that you are able and ready to answer that question, what do you bring to the table? So by show of hands, how many of you have this picture at home in some version? If you have this picture, that's weird and we need to talk. You should not have this particular picture. That would be inappropriate. But by a show of hands, this is one of the ways that I figure out what age everyone is. So how many of you have an Olin Mills picture in a box somewhere? I like to know who my people are. Mr. Marvelous with the beard, right there, you. No, don't look around, you. It's Olin Mills, O-L-A-N-M-I-L-L-S. I just sort of looked, I felt like perhaps you were not with me. Maybe you're under the age of 40. And so on behalf of the under 40 set in the room, just Google it. Just go do an Olin Mills Google. And I know what you're thinking, because you're probably looking at this picture, and there may be a few things that are going through your head. Number one, you may be thinking, which one is Libby? So I'm the baby in the family. I'm the cute one. So I am the youngest of 3 girls, and this is our annual family picture. This is 1978. I think I'm 5 years old. So that's the first thing you might be thinking. The second thing you might be thinking is they were a very wealthy family, clearly, because they had a library of leather-bound books. We read all the classics. Because anyone under 40, right, you had a different experience growing up of the family picture. Like the photographer might come to your house. And I think most people under 40 think like all family pictures have to be taken outside in nature. But we would go to the photo studio and we would choose from one of 3 backgrounds. And in 1978, we chose the leather-bound books. Okay, the third thing you may be asking yourself is, but why did her dad wear his sunglasses? He should have taken those off. Again, it's 1978. And Dad's glasses looked like that 24 hours a day. Because he was cool. The follow-up to that is that we had to do a family intervention in the early 1990s to tell Don he could not wear those glasses anymore. To which he replied, but they still have prescription in them, so I will continue to wear them. He's that guy, right? The reuse the aluminum foil guy. How many of you are the youngest in the family? So just by a show of hands, who are my youngest in the family? Okay. By the way, if you are the youngest in the family, are you also the most favoritist? Yeah, okay. As it should be. Sorry, middle children. So I am not only the youngest in the family, but I'm actually the youngest by quite a few years. My sisters were 10 and 6 years older than me. And so I grew up in many ways feeling like not only did I have a mom, I kind of felt like I had 3 moms because they were so much older than me. So we were certainly not friends. We were not peers. They had their own lives by the time I came along. So I didn't really feel like I grew up with them in the way that maybe you do if you have siblings that are close in age to you. And so I grow up and I'm an adult and I have my own family. And it dawns on me one day, I'm home for a visit and we're all sitting around the table. And I have this sort of moment of clarity where I go, I didn't bring anything to this table. I offered nothing to this table. So you see, my mom is an incredible cook. She is a great cook. Not only is she a great cook, she is an exemplary baker. My mom can bake anything, pies, cakes, cookies. And the thing that she is most beloved for in our family is cheese rolls. So she makes cheese rolls whenever I come home for a visit. And then my oldest sister is also a really great cook as well. And so she always brings things to the table when we're having a family meal. And my middle sister brings things to the tables. And I look around and I realize I didn't really bring anything to this table. Everything that's being consumed in terms of food, I didn't offer anything, I didn't bring anything, and the reason is because they didn't want me to. Because cooking is not my spiritual gift. You don't want, I know, when they're on the phone, they don't put me on the call as they build the menu. They're like, no, we're good, Liv, we've got this, we don't need anything, thank you. And so I started to feel kind of bad about myself. I thought, gosh, they offered so much and they brought so much to the table. And so I continued to think about this question of what do I actually bring to the table? And it took me a little bit of time to work through it because I'm always really good to help prepare, put the ice in the glasses, set the table, get the stuff on the table, clear the table, do the dishes. I'm always really happy to do that piece of it. But what I began to understand is that while my family, my sisters in particular, bring sustenance, they bring food to the table, it dawned on me that I bring something to the table as well. Charm and wit. You can dine on that all night long. You're feeling it now, aren't you? Are you feeling it? Okay. I hope you are. But what I did realize is, and it sort of came to me as I was going through this, it came to me this idea that within the structure of the family from a very early age, I had a very specific role in the family, and that is, I'm the entertainer. So if you go to dinner and a show, right, you go to Las Vegas and you go to dinner and a show, I'm the show part. So my sisters provide the dinner part, and I was like, but I bring something of value to the table. And so I continued to think about that. I thought about it beyond our family table. I thought about it in business and in our organizations. And I thought about you. And I believe that as an organization and a team of people who are committed to something that is bigger than yourself, because that's ultimately what you do, I really do think that there is something to be said for this idea that we need to be able to answer the question, what do you bring to the table? So I went back and I broke it down into 3 things, and this becomes your work. So I'm kind of holding a hot potato, and I'm going to throw it into your lap, and I'm going to say, I want you to take this hot potato back with you, and I want you to formulate your answer to the following 3 things. So to answer this question, what do you bring to the table, there are ultimately 3 things I need to know from you. One is, I need to know who you are. So this is who I am. The second thing is this is what I do. And the third thing is the most important piece of this, and that is, this is why it matters. And as a district that is filled with people who are committed to this vision, not only within your district, but within your community, for those of you that have bought into this idea that we can collectively do great things together, I want for everyone in this room today to be able to answer that question. So here's what we did. We chose 3 people to come and actually answer that question today. So if you are one of the 3 people who have worked on this in advance, please stand and come to the front. Join me on stage. They've even set up, there's no candle or wine, which I had asked for. I'd asked for a nice bottle of wine, but they forgot that part. But they're going to come up, and we're going to walk through this idea of what do you bring to the table? This is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why it matters. So where are my 3 volunteers? Come on, give it, let's do applause as they come up. join us on stage. No matter where you land in this organization, no matter what your job is, your title, what you do, you bring something to this community that we need. We need you. And so our three, were you volunteered or voluntold is mine. Yeah, volunteered or voluntold. You're here, so that's good. And I'm gonna have them answer these three questions for you. Who are you, what do you do, and why does it matter? I'm gonna start with you, John.
Hello everyone, my name is John Rodriguez. I am the Facility Support Foreman out of our Physical Plant Operations Department. What I do is I help our team run our PPO department. A lot of things are going on in this district. It's wonderful. A lot of construction, as you can see, not only this year, but next year. So my why is, imagine Gardendale, right now pre-K for SA is going on. So we got a pre-K student who's going in for the first time. I remember that was me. That's gonna be remembered for the rest of their life. So it's up to us to make sure that we get an impact for them and they know from going forward that they have a chance at life that we got when we were young. So again, we want to make sure that that happens. So what I'm going to do today is make a pledge for our department as a whole to continue to grow, to continue to improve, so that we can be the best support group to help all of us achieve the goal for our future. Thank you.
John. By the way, John is very polite on the phone, so your mother raised you very well. Next, Miriam, I'll let you go next.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Miriam Rodríguez. Estoy en el departamento de limpieza, soy head custodian. Tengo 4 años con el distrito escolar de Edgewood. Llego muy temprano por las mañanas a limpiar las áreas de oficina. Trabajo en las oficinas central. Todos los días llego muy temprano a limpiar para que estén listas las oficinas para las personas que van a llegar. Y es muy importante para mí porque me han hecho sentir en familia. Muchas gracias.
Buenos días, yo soy Esperanza Espinosa. I am Esperanza Espinosa. I am a proud product of Edgewood ISD, a graduate of Memorial High School. I'm the Executive Secretary of Human Resources Department here at Edgewood. And what I do, I'm sorry, a little nervous, but what I do matters because people matter. The way we treat, support, and serve our district matters, whether it's an enthusiastic parent, an employee, former employee, a current, former employee. I'm super nervous. What we do matters because the way we serve, treat, and support people in our district matters. That is why I am Edgewood United. Yo soy Edgewood Unida.
So I want to thank you for doing that, right? It is a little nerve, right? You look at it and you're like, oh my gosh. But I love that you had the courage to come up here and share your answers to those questions. And I want everyone to have the opportunity in some way to, if you will, be on stage and answer what do you bring to the table. And so as a small thank you, I'm going to give you a book. And I think you have, what, new cars and a vacation home in line for them? Is that the other part of the... You get that part once I've left. So that comes later, but that is just a small thank you from me for having the courage to come up here and to present what you bring to the table to all of your colleagues, to your peers, to the people that you work with, and we are glad that you are here. Give them another round of applause. to, in whatever context it's in, to be able to stand up and to stand in that place of power and purpose and answer the question, what do you bring to the table? But I think that this is a great year to push ourselves in that direction, to ask more of ourselves and to ask more of each other. Because I am the outsider in the room, and I sat right there in that second row, and I listened intently. Because I am a former educator. I have 2 girls who this is the first year in 15 years that I didn't have a kid heading off to public school because they both graduated and are in college now, right? And if you will allow me 90 seconds, I'm going to preach. I am not a bona fide or certified preacher, but I'm going to preach for 90 seconds. We need you. We need you. We need you because public education, in my opinion, is the linchpin of our democracy. We are nothing without public education. And you are public education. And I need you in your schools and in your district. I need you to show up for those kids every day and to answer the question, what do you bring to the table? And I need you to teach them to answer that question for themselves as well. Because public education is under assault on a daily basis, and we need you to stand up and say, this is what we bring to the table. Our kids need us, their parents need us, our community needs us, because we are talented, we are educated, and we are professionals, and no one can do our job better than we can do our job. Do you agree with that? If I ever start my own religion, I'll let you know. But that's my soapbox for 90 seconds, and that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to stand up and answer that question, what do you bring to the table? And I want you to join me at that table, and I want you to go back to your school, and I want you to share this, and I want you to talk about what we do and how we do the work and why the work matters. For a moment, if you don't mind, please indulge me. Everyone's woo, shake it out for a second, right? Gotta do a little shake it out. Okay. As we come towards the end of this day, I'm going to have you do a little bit of follow the leader. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to say to the person standing next to you, the work that you do matters. Turn to the person next to you and tell them. I bet you needed that hug, didn't you? You did. It's okay. It's okay. You did. Yeah, you were like, I have been waiting to hug these guys. stop this. Don't keep looking at me, but I see you. I see you. If someone you tried to give a hug rejected you on your way out, just bless their heart. Just bless their heart on your way out. That's what you gotta do. And you gotta do it right the way we do it in Texas. You gotta go, oh, bless your heart. Your homework is to answer the question, what do you bring to the table? And once you've arrived at an answer, the follow-up homework assignment is, as a school, what do we bring to the table? And I know that many of these schools already have the answers. I gotta tell you, I don't know if that whole principal thing is caught on video, but if it is, will you please package it and sell it? Because that's one of the best things I've ever seen. I thought, well, it won't get better than that. And then the next one it got better, and the next one it got better. And Mr. Principal here at the, where'd you go? Hey, if this whole thing doesn't work out, I cannot wait to see where your rap career goes. You're like, I hit it to the hop. I want to leave you with this. Number one, thank you for letting me be here. What an amazing day. What energy. I know all of that energy is getting bundled up and ready for Monday when those kiddos walk through your door, and what a blessing you will be to each and every one of them. I am a product of public schools. I grew up in Lubbock, Texas. I went to school at Bowie Elementary across the street from my parents' house. I went there, my two sisters went there. And what you see in this picture is me in the 3rd grade. If you haven't figured out which one is me, I'm the little girl in the front row. I was going through a Laura Ingalls phase. So it's Laura Ingalls, L-A-U-R-A. Okay. Little House on the Prairie. Yeah. I mean, look at me. Who's a 3rd grade teacher? Where are my 3rd grade teachers at? You look at that picture, what's your name? Celeste, she would have been like, oh, that child, she's an angel. I'm just so pleased to have her in my classroom. Look at the calico, the lace collar. Look how she's sitting just so proper and immense. No, by day 2, you would have been like, get this kid out of here. And that is, in fact, what happened. Mrs. Casey, who you see in the upper right-hand corner, regularly would send me down to the principal's office. And the principal is the, don't go, aw. It was amazing. So the fellow, the very handsome fellow in the upper left-hand corner is not Kojak. K-O-J-A-K. That is Bill Roach. He was my elementary school principal as well as my two sisters, and I spent a lot of time with that dude. I was regularly sent to his office when Mrs. Casey would become exasperated and didn't know what to do with me anymore. I spent time with him in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. In fact, it occurred to me in the 5th grade one day when I showed up and he had placed a desk and a chair beside his file cabinet. Yeah. Were you that kid too? You and me, let's hang out after this. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, you're here so much. I figured I'd teach you how to file. And so I would file papers for him, and I was in an internship program. Unpaid internship, right? I showed up in the 6th grade one day, and as I was walking in, he leaned out his office door and he said, Mrs. Foster, go take your federally mandated 15-minute smoke break. I don't think Ms. Foster smoked, but I just love the idea of that. And I said, but what will we do without Mrs. Foster? And he said, well, you will be Mrs. Foster. And he said, come sit at her desk and I'll show you how to answer the phones. And he said, if a message comes in for a teacher, go take it down to the classroom. And if they're not there, go into the teacher's lounge. The teacher's lounge. I was convinced there was like a DJ in there. And like a disco ball, probably a full bar. Yeah, you're like, what school was this? And I I did. I got to deliver a note to the teacher's lounge. It was, in fact, not. It was really the only thing. It was just like a bunch of cigarette smoke and like a day-old pound cake that someone had brought in. It was not the happiest. And so I developed a lifelong relationship with him. He knew me all the way up until my adult years. So he knew me as a teenager. He knew me as a young adult. He got to meet my children. And in 2006, after having been home for a week to visit my family in Lubbock, my mom called and told me that he and his wife had died tragically in a plane wreck on the way back from Branson, Missouri with some friends. And so I got a ticket, airline ticket, and I flew home and I went to his funeral. And if you want to have a surreal experience as an adult person, get in the room with every teacher you've had from kindergarten until the 6th grade. It was an amazing experience. And you talked a lot this morning about this idea of come home. And that's very much what that day felt like for me. It was a coming home for me to be around these people who collectively all loved and cared so much about this man. You know, I am of a generation that he could have easily just paddled me and sent me on my way. And he didn't do that for me. Instead, what he did was he talked to me and he invested in me. And this term that has been used a lot this morning, emotional intelligence, that term didn't come around until 1991. But he was doing it already, even if he didn't have the language with which to talk about it. He knew that my development as a human was as important, the academic piece. He wanted to also develop the person. And he did that in his office. He never shamed me. He never told me I was a bad kid. He didn't embarrass me. He treated me like a person. And because of that, I consider him to this day not just a mentor, but really honestly a personal hero. Because what he did for me was he planted a seed in me. And one of the things as educators that you know, I watched those of you that were standing up at 10 and 15 and 20 years, you know that sometimes the seeds that you plant in these kiddos don't bloom until years later. And mine didn't bloom until years later. But I had the benefit of going back and celebrating the work that he did in me, and I was surrounded by other kids who went to Bowie Elementary that he did the same for. As we were walking out that morning, my kindergarten teacher was there. Who's my kindergarten teachers? I love you guys. You guys, I had the best kindergarten teacher name ever. Her name was Mrs. Moon. Is that not the best name for a kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Moon? And as we were walking out, she was chatting with me and my mom, and we got into the parking lot, and it became clear it was time for her to go left and us to go right. She looked at my mom as we were getting ready to say goodbye, and she said, "I want to tell you something." She got kind of serious. She looked square into my mom's eyes, and she said, "I always knew that Libby would grow up to be a great success or go to prison." And I thought, well, that's not appropriate. Kindergarten teachers should not talk that way. And then I thought, but no problem, my mom's got my back. She'll take care of this. And my mom looked right back into her eyes, says, "Mrs. Moon, I know." And any of you that are thinking sort of on this side, has she gone to prison? No, I have not gone to prison, okay? Teachers have made such a difference in my life. I knew from the time that I was this big that I wanted to be an educator. I would go to school all day, I would come home and I would play school in my room. I would create lessons and lesson plans, and then I would grade, and I was a mean grader. My dolls and stuffed animals failed everything. You know, because I always wanted an X, 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 X. But I knew that what I wanted to do was teach, and I've made a career out of teaching. I taught college for 10 years. I started this business 15 years ago, and I go all over the world, and I get to work with professionals. I get to teach people about the intersection of communication and leadership. I get to talk about emotional intelligence, and I got to tell you, the best day in the office is the day that I get to hang out with people like you. Educators aren't people. Thank you for the work that you do. I have this feeling it's going to be a really good year, and I'm glad I got to be just a little part of it. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Miss Libby, don't go far. for joining us this morning. Thank you for being a part of the Edgewood ISD family. We are all going to walk away with, what do we bring to the table? And we learned this morning that everybody in this room brings something to the table. So, with that said, because everybody brings something to the table, because we're feeling like a family, because it's just such a great day, we're about to start a new year, we're going to kick off our spirit contest. So this is what we're going to have to do. Libby, you're going to help select the winner. We're going to have a spirit contest. The campus or department that shows the most amount of spirit. Remember, we're all educators, we're all family and adults, but we're still at work. We are still at work. So, those, again, campus and or department that shows the most amount of spirit, dance, cheer, energy, Miss Libby, you are going to help select the winner. That campus or department is going to take home a $250 voucher for everybody on the team to a local